anti-terrorist technology and code, and equipment, you know, and surveillance terms up to date that he can put in his movie script. So I wrote the book down, blah, blah, blah. And I gave it to Robert. Robert ordered it. When he read it, we instantly became cool right then on the spot, off the top, because that was what he needed. That was exactly what he needed. But I had perception, you can tell me a little something about what you're into. I can kind of, fill in the blanks for you, and kind of help you complete a fuller picture of what you're trying to do, where you're trying to go. I always had that kind of insight, during my years of, education and stuff like that, and always learning over the years and decades. That was one of my things, to help people put career choices together, like a guidance counselor, a college career counselor, like, or vocational counselor, whatever, I did get a double major bachelor's degree in business administration and social science. And I'm very proud of that accomplishment. Also, vocationally, I got a certification in optician in the optical field, manufacturing lenses, putting prescriptions in lenses and put them in the frame, knowing how to use the generator, the edger, the polishers, the lensometers. I could take a blank lens with the prescription information and take it around the whole shop from the beginning to the end, pop it in the frame, polish it up, and get it ready for the customer. Like, do the whole job in an hour. Used to be that good. My professor, my instructor, Mr. Joseph A. Don, as soon as I graduated from college, one of my alumni brothers took his class, and he kind of encouraged me to come in and take the class too, so I took it. I loved it, Joe was cool. He was probably the coolest staff member that I ever met, that I ever experienced while in prison, educational wise. Actually, all wise, education or not. We was in Mr. Joseph Don class, man. He only had one rule: to get my products out here, because he had brought the optician game from the Navy and sold it to the Department of Correction. Said, I can train your inmates to do your inmate glasses and save you millions of dollars from outsourcing this work to other private eyeglass manufacturers. And that's what he did. He built a program, And his only request was, you get my product out here on time, y'all can do what the fuck, y'all can do what y'all want to do up in here. Man, we be jumping all over tables. The other teachers be mad, like, you let them boys do everything up in there. He just laughed, because he know he's saving these people millions of dollars. So he was like carte blanche, he had the green light. They wasn't messing with Joe, Big Joe. And he had gangrene in his leg, and he used to get blood transfusions. He wouldn't get his leg cut off, man. I said, Joe, man, don't you want to live, man? He said, man, my family been dependent on me for so long that I don't know that I can't handle the role reversal of them depending on me, or me depending on them, because they still depended on me. So he kept getting fused and fused. Eventually he ended up passing, man. Before I got out, Joe ended up passing, man, because he wouldn't get his leg cut off. He just kept doing what he can do for as long as he can do it until they caught up with him and took him out, you know. But back to Robert Howard. So once he got that book on Homeland Security in New York, and he finished that script, his second strip was this international finance suspense story, you know, about a woman that wanted to help third world countries, though she worked in the international banking, but she had an affinity for third world countries, and she used to funnel a lot of those rich people's money to these different countries. So now we got to study finance now. We got to study global and international finance in order to make this movie realistic. We got to have some realistic understanding of international finance. So we start buying books, you know, on the origin of finance and money and all of this, and, you know, and we got up on some billion-dollar concepts, man, that we was kicking around in the dish tank, you know, and we be adding and tallying up. Like some guy might be walking through there and be like, man, we do this, do that, we can get 300 mil, homeboy, that's $300 million, dog. And people be like, what these guys talking about? Every day I come to these games talking about 500 or 600 mil, you know. But, you know, it was a fascinating journey, man, you know. And we used to have fun. Because what we was talking about was real, though. Make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. What we was talking about and the numbers that we was talking was real numbers that we was capable of generating with the product that we created. With the financial instruments that we created. We can create hundreds of millions of dollars. Make no mistake about it. It was based on real research, real knowledge. We knew what we knew. We learned what we learned. Now, of course, a passerby that come through, seeing two black men talking about 300-400 million, and of course, they think we delusional because they don't have the knowledge. They're lost for lack of understanding, for lack of knowledge. So we didn't care. We knew what they didn't know. We knew what we knew. We just laughed at them. they just thinking this, we just joking, but we for real as a heart attack, you know. And that was cool, you know, going through that and knowing the fact that we could actually do that, you know. And I got caught up outside. When I got out, man, society was so cruel to me based on my background and criminal history. They was very cruel to me. But let me go back. My last 3 years, I worked for the psych department. I was a peer facilitator of cognitive behavioral therapy classes, CBT classes. The psych whom we were working for devised a program, peer facilitated, to help open up her clients in group meetings, in her psychotherapy group meetings, because she was saying, Man, I got guys in here, man, that sit up in here for 2 years and don't say nothing. I can't reach them, I can't open, I can't. So she came up with the grand idea, we won't let y'all open up each other. I'm gonna give you some of these cognitive behavioral these classes, and you teach each other. And open each other up, so by the time you get to my class, my group, you already open up. You already got some insight. You know how to talk now. You know how to feel. You know how to speak your mind. You got perspective. It was a great idea. I taught 20 classes in 3 years because my goal was to take those classes on the outside and teach them in society. After having witnessed the profound impact that they had on the worst case scenarios in prison. There was no doubt in my mind that my class would work anywhere in the world. If you can work on the worst case scenarios in the world, they can work anywhere in the world, you know. But society kept closing the door in my face because of my background. And it made me wonder, did they really care about their constituents by slamming the door in my face? Who would have benefited more, me or their constituents? I'll let you answer that. And it saddened me. You know, of course, a lot of them was intimidated by me because I taught 20 classes. They may have one class in their program. They're getting $60,000, $70,000 a year. Some of them at the top. Others $40,000, $50,000 through grant money, et cetera, et cetera. So why would I have to increase my workload and allow you to come in and establish 5, 10, 15 classes, whatever you want to put down, do all that extra work, and I'm not going to get no more money, and then my bosses come in and see who's actually really having a greater impact on the program and fire all of us and hire you to run all the classes by your damn self. So they weren't going to allow that to happen, you know. So that was the biggest drawback that I've had since I've been out. A lot of discrimination because of my background, my criminal history, society wanted to reduce me to the margins of life, to the edge, to just the menial jobs, like the workers in '68 when Dr. King went to Memphis, the garbage man jobs. That was pretty much all they black men were relegated to back then. You got a criminal record today, that's pretty much what they're trying to relegate you to, you know, unless they're so desperate that they might bend their own rules for a minute. But for the most part, they're relegating you to the margins of life. And that's sad that our country don't believe in second chances anymore. They don't believe in the redemptive qualities of man. You know. So that was pretty much, you know, kind of summing up my prison experience. I didn't want to go too deep, you know, too expansive, you know, covering 33 years of prison life. I didn't want to get into it that deep. I just want to touch here and there some experiences. But I can say to you that I discovered myself. That was my greatest accomplishment in prison, was self-discovery. I discovered my potential as a man. I discovered who I was as a man, who I am as a man. And that type of self-actualization, self-fulfillment is invaluable. You can't put a price tag on it. So no matter how society treats me or what they say about me, they can't change the fact that I believe in me, that I know my value, my self-worth. You know, I know my potential and what I have to offer the world. So it just saddens me that it's your loss when you block me out of your life, out of your daily interactions in society. You know, the affairs of men. You block me and not allow me to prosper.